Tough loss tonight, but it's good to see the kids going off. A couple beautiful goals between the two of them, Suzuki and Caulfield. These God, they're for real. And you know what? Good loss for the tank. Yet another one. We look locked in to a lotto pick here, regardless whether or not it's Shane Wright. We are getting a good player to add to this core. Nonetheless, guys, had a great time this evening sitting down with the two-thirds of the gentlemen from Ballotage. And for the Anglophones out there, that is On Waivers, a French podcast. These guys they're hilarious. They got good insight and they challenge each other's opinions. Couple of buddies of mine, Pat and Matt, joined me to talk Habs, and we covered it all. Trade deadline, the rebuild, our thoughts on, Kent Hughes moving forward. We were, we watched a bit of the end of the game there and reacted to that. So enjoy the conversation. Bit of a St. Patrick's Day special, I guess you could call it. Anyway, guys, cheers. Go Habs, go. What's going on, guys? Welcome.
Hey, what's going on, Matt? Yeah, thanks for having us, man.
Yeah.
It's looking forward to that.
Yeah, for sure, man. Just a couple tokes here. I'm having a beer and just good to hang out with the guys from Ballotage.
Hell yeah!
Oh,
so happy
love
to
you
be here.
there.
We've been talking about it for a while, right?
Yeah, and what a game tonight, eh? Caulfield,
Yeah.
then Suzuki, now Schoeneman. They got the lead. I mean, Dallas is good, and they're in the hunt. And they need this game, and the Habs are kind of playing spoiler.
Yeah, well, I'm surprised they're not pushing more, considering they're really on the verge of a playoff seat.
Yeah,
they're a wildcard team
but
right
then
now.
again,
So I'm very surprised they're not
rough,
pushing more
right?
than that.
Well,
yeah,
some of them are.
Yeah, how about Caulfield's goal though, eh?
Oh man,
from the
almost
knees,
scored again as you said it.
Yeah.
Nice shot.
Yeah, so for everyone tuning in here, there's about 5 minutes left in the third. We're recording here on Thursday night, and just gonna talk Habs. There's lots going on right now with the trade deadline coming up. We're finally getting to see kind of what this management team is up to, and we just got the 2023 first for Ben Sherratt, which is huge. So what's your guys' thoughts on that? Yeah,
even if the chances to see the Panthers go outside of the playoff is pretty slim.
Florida's
Still something, right?
No,
never
Florida's
know
gonna crash and burn, and we'll get a sick first round pick next year.
Yeah, what do you think of the return for Sherratt, man?
Dude, they maximize value. I'll tell you that.
I think so.
Yeah. I mean, at this time of year, a guy like him is clearly worth it. But to still, it's done. The deal's done. They pulled it off. They got the asking price, and I think Florida's going to like him too. So
Dallas just tied the game, man.
Wow. Yeah, there it is.
Ouch.
Hey,
what do you think of that kid? I don't know him much. Tyler Smilanik.
Yeah. People are raving about him already, overhyping him maybe a little bit already, but you know what? You never know. You never know.
They said Kent Hughes knows the kid already.
Yeah, could be.
So there's that. Yeah.
Well, I think that Ken Hughes, Gorton, and St. Louis kids all played against him, so they all knew who were getting in that trade. We're always talking about how Hughes knows the NCAA inside out. So I think there's maybe a hidden card in that pick. So
they had
who knows where that goes?
They had Manon Réaume on RDS because our son is in the same team as the kid we just got. And she said he's already working on the pro stuff, little details to his game. And he's been for like the past year already. So that's why if you look at the stats, it's like so, but the kid's working on without the puck and good behavior all around on the ice, man. So it's pretty comforting to hear that actually.
Yeah, I love hearing that about when you pick up a prospect, or even when you're talking about your own prospects, and the focus is like the hockey IQ, the play without the puck. You can talk about with this return with Smilanik, it very well could be true. Hughes, is it's secret weapon, you know what I mean? But then you look at other guys like Joshua Wall going off right now.
Oh my God!
And he's not doing it with speed either, right? It's smarts. It's all the other tools that he's just killing it.
19-point streak, 19-game point streak. It's
crazy that pickup. What round did we pick him up?
Fifth. Fifth
Fifth
round.
round.
Yeah.
Guy,
And
that's
a
fucking nice.
first overall into the queue. I mean, he clearly has the skill and he's showing it off,
It feels like he's that type of player that's just gonna play over his cap because it's Montreal.
Yeah.
Seems like we made a dream come true, and now he's gonna pay it back, man.
Yeah.
Looks fucking pumped.
So boys, what are we doing here? Is it the restructure?
It's a rehash. It's a reformat.
The remanufacturing of the
Yeah. Yeah. It's a refurbish.
refurbishing.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice
So,
one.
so
Don't
who
say
else?
the other word. Don't say the other word.
I mean, there's just I just find it's this team's in such an interesting spot. There's value up like all throughout the franchise.
Yeah.
You look at how many draft picks they have. I was just looking at
Your team.
the cap friendly. Yeah, it's like 2 firsts, a second, 3 thirds, 3 fourths, like all.
How many picks in the last 2 seasons? The kids that
Yeah.
are already in the system too. You gotta
Yeah.
count it. You gotta
Yeah,
count it. We've been in a rebuild.
exactly.
Even though we were in the fucking finals, right? It was
Yeah.
still a rebuild.
And that's why
We're
I
still
think it's
stacking the
really,
picks.
we're constantly flipping back and forth. I think all of us on the whole Lehkonen thing, right? But it
Yeah.
looks like
Yeah,
he
but
could
there's
go,
reasons,
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks because it's the easy way out. What are you gonna do? You're
Yeah.
gonna sign Lehkonen and then you have Armia and Byron? That's way
Yeah.
too much value on the bottom 9
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
But
6, I guess.
is it that important? Like
Yeah.
if we're no, I wait a second. Depends what you're aiming for in the next 2-3 years. Okay, if you're just maintaining a few vets, keeping a competitive team, trying to build something with the youngsters, showing them ethics. I don't care if you have an Armia, a Lekanem, big salaries at the bottom, even Byron. Yes, if you can liquidate, go ahead. But is it win now? No. So it doesn't matter if you have those contracts at the deep end and you trade them when they're becoming UFAs.
They're becoming harder
Thing
and
is,
harder to
like with
trade.
Lehkonen,
So
the thing
not
with
gonna be
Lehkonen-
easier to trade Byron next year,
Yeah.
Or
3.4, 1 year left. Yeah.
Yeah.
With the
But
injury
do you want to
history.
keep them with the kids?
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind. There's one too many. Lehkonen, Armia, Byron, one has to go, right?
Yeah. I
And the
think they
one guy
could
is
get rid of, it's like tonight, Armia up in the top 6, and the line's looking good.
Yeah.
I think they could. It's just his contract, man. If there wasn't that many years on it,
Yeah.
it'd be a little bit easier. But yeah, him. I think the only way you could keep Lehkonen is if you find that trade for Armia. But then still,
Yeah.
you still
Makes
got
sense for
Byron
me,
there.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Plus his value's high right now, so we could cash in as well, right? So
Lehkonen's the easy guy to move. You get
Yeah.
a good return. You get
It
rid
could
of
be
that
for a
problem that
prospect
you got
that's-
to
that's-
What
sign.
type of return would you keep him or move him? For what type of return?
I'd be
I
looking
know
for.
it seems. Yeah, go ahead, man.
I was gonna say I'd be looking for like an A-level prospect, and I'd play hardball because he's an RFA. It's like you're not giving up it's a rental or something
Yeah.
like
Exactly.
that, So I'd be looking for, what, pay the price, give us because he's clearly gonna have an impact in the playoffs. You know what I mean? It's a sure bet.
Yeah.
Lekkonen's gonna be a strong 5-on-5 player for you, and that's exactly
an
Your
what
NHL
favorite
player.
coach player,
Yeah.
right?
So
Every
pay
coach
up.
gonna love him.
Exactly. So pay up the price or we're keeping them. And we've got so many draft picks already. Do we really need more?
It has to be a first if it's a pick.
Yeah.
And yeah, if not an A prospect, like you said, that's what we need for him.
Exactly. Like I wouldn't move him for a B prospect. I wouldn't move him for a second round pick. Like I need something big if I'm moving Lehkonen. I don't mind
Yeah,
losing
a
him
B prospect
necessarily.
and a second
Right.
round pick.
Well, if you're giving me both, okay, I'll consider. But primarily, I'm looking for a first round pick or an A prospect. And from there, I determine what I'm doing with Lehkonen. If he's
Yep.
commanding 4.5 next year, no, I have to move him. But if you're able to get him under 3.5,
Hey, that's a good point.
like I wouldn't mind keeping him for 3.5, but not more than that.
And what do we know, man?
You're-
Lehkonen might want to stay on a team friendly deal. Maybe he loves it. Who knows?
A lot of guys talk about how they enjoy their time in Montreal. I know that there's been a lot of ups and downs, but Don Ducharme or Marty St. Louis or Claude Julien, the team's always had character. And that's the locker room they built. You know what I mean? That's never really gone away. And guys seem to like to play here. And I wouldn't be surprised if Lek is one that would want to stay. And one thing about him too is that like we drafted him, we've developed him. He's about to hit his stride. So what was all that time for? You know what I mean? So there's kind of that piece to it too. But yeah, it's a good spot to be in.
Includes Hughes and Gorton.
Yeah.
They didn't draft him. They didn't develop
Right.
him. They have him now. They
Yeah,
have
but
what's
he's
his
a
value
guy
is,
everybody
what
loves,
he's-
man.
What they're
You're not
doing
gonna.
from this point now.
Yeah.
But he's
Right.
perfect. Every coach gonna love him. He does all the boring things that a coach wants.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Yeah, I think he's good to keep. He's good to trade. It's really there's good outcomes on each side of this, honestly.
So if who else do you think we could get at least a little bit of value for here? Do you really think he's Hughes mentioned today they're not looking to trade a goalie?
What?
And yeah,
Yeah, that seems.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm not buying it.
Do you think
We
he's
have- we have
playing?
too
Do you
many
think
goals,
he's
come
like?
on.
Do you think he's saying maybe, and again, pay up the price or we're keeping him type
Yeah,
deal?
yeah, I
or,
think that's the message. The
Probably.
message is force me to trade Haaland and I'll do it.
yeah.
I think with the right offer, Haaland's
Yeah,
gone.
you see it tonight. He's an NHL goalie compared to
Oh.
what we like just his positioning, just the way he's playing. Like the second the game started, I was like, okay, there we have our goalie. You know, it
Yeah.
showed right away.
He wasn't shaky on those big saves, eh? He was
No,
fucking
yeah.
solid.
Dialed
Oh,
in,
wow.
yeah.
Yeah,
And-
so
Yeah.
we need. Oh wow,
Refreshing to see a
Sorry.
goalie that solid in net. It's been a while for us.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And big respect for Motambo and what he's done this year. It's not easy stepping in at that level behind an absent Carey Price and Jake Allen to be the fucking
Yeah.
fifth guy, right? Fifth guy
Yeah.
in, something like that.
And
So,
he's
yeah,
owned it.
respect-
He's battled,
Yeah.
yeah. And he's
Well, compared to
handled it
Primo,
about.
I don't know if you're gonna agree on that. Compared to Primo, I feel like his character, his confidence is solid. Where Primo has a bad game and the next game he's gonna be shaky from it.
Yeah.
Montabo, he just hits that reset button and he's ready
Well,
to go
if you
back
have
in.
Price and Allen, you send Motambo to work with Primo. It's not bad.
Man, I'd love to see Price Motambo tandem next year. Honestly, that's
Yeah,
that's
I think
what
I'd be
like to see.
comfortable with it too. You know what I mean? It's and I could see Allen having some value just because of how good his
Oh, yeah.
contract is, and he can step in and you can have confidence that he can be a starter for you. And it's an easy way to save a little bit of cap as well. You know, even though his contract's good, you could probably get Montembeault at $1 million,
Yeah.
$1.5 million, then you're saving a bit. But yeah, that one thing though is that it is kind of true. Or it is true that Carey Price is kind of in the twilight zone here. We don't know.
We have no clue.
I'm not stressed, man.
No, you think
Remember Markov?
Yeah,
Same fucking operation. It took a year, fallbacks and stuff, and bam, two of
Comes
his
back.
best careers and two of his best seasons in career beyond that. So
Yeah.
I'm not worried, man.
But
He'll
remember,
take the
that
time
for a
to
long
attitude.
time, for a long
It's
time we
Carey
talked about
Price.
Carey Price's backups. For a long time we talked about how we need a solid backup so that he plays less. Is Montembeault really that guy?
I'm gonna ask another question. Are Gorton and Hughes really gonna build that kind of team where we rely on the goalie? Or anyway, they're planning on having a good enough defense that it won't matter if you have Allen as a backup.
No, but I'm saying if you move Allen, because the thing is, if you're keeping Montembeault, because you're moving Allen.
Yep, right.
Right.
Absolutely.
So
and you want Price to
I
play like
understand your
50
point.
or
They're trying to
so.
build defense, but
Yeah,
very
with a
soon
good
we're gonna have a
defense,
very
Montembeaul's
young
going to be
core.
good enough to be a backup. That's my point. So yeah, if you get a good return for Jake Allen,
You really
it's a
like
piece that can-
Montembeault.
well, I think he's proven something this year. I think. And
Yeah,
quite
I-
honestly, people, hey, let's say he's what two and a half years older than Primo, so he's gonna keep
Yeah.
improving, guys. He's not
Yeah.
done. He's not done. So up to today, he's ahead of Primo, and for the next 2 years, they both get better, and then Primo has 2 years to gain that edge. I don't believe it. I don't believe Primo's ever gonna catch up to Montembeault at this point. It's a confidence and character thing that Montembeault has, and Primo, they won't grow up on him, man. I don't believe it. Montembeault's the new guy. He's the new depth guy in the system, guys.
I love it. You're all in. You're all in. I love it.
Well,
But yeah,
no, on a bigger scale for Price retirement, I'm still worried, dude. Like
yeah,
3-4 years, 3-4 years in the future is something I worry about. But
that's
being-
the biggest kind of stressor
Oh,
for me
fuck,
for
yes,
this
it
team,
is,
man,
dude.
big time. Because
Yeah.
there is a lot of goalies that kind of float around. You can find some studs, but Montreal's a very unique market, and just the comfort of having Price this long, despite the injuries here and there. But I've liked Montembeau's character through the whole thing, and despite the defense is horrible, and despite some tough losses for this team, he's still had some good games, made some big saves, and he's handled it well. But to Matthew's point, what if we end up in a situation where we're in a race and Price is forced to play 65 games, 70 if it doesn't work out?
Yeah, I'd be worried about that. But then again, what if the return you get for Allen? What if he's the guy, man? You got to load on those picks and prospects, and some of them are gonna be useless and some of them are gonna stick. That's gonna be your new core in a few years, right?
Yeah.
And that it's not a matter of maybe that second round pick is useless when you look at it like as a single pick, but having so many pick is what really matters, because then you have more choices to decide who you keep and who you don't keep down the road, right? So for me, the future is the most important thing right now. Jake Allen's, Carey Price, it's all something that won't be there in 5 years. We're looking at a new core, man. So building that future core matters more to me than keeping Jake Allen, and I think Montembeau can be a respectable second goalie in the NHL right now, whoever behind he's playing, right?
But at the same time, when we heard about Ben Sherratt being moved, didn't we all hope maybe Spencer Knight, even though we knew it wasn't going to happen? I was like, maybe we're fixing the goalie situation right there, right now. I knew it wasn't going to happen, but man, like Carey Price was our stud. We always had a strength in goalies from like I'll go with José Théodore, Patrick Roy, like always we needed a goalie stud in the back, and Price has been that.
It's hard to find
like
that
Matt
guy,
has been saying, but who's the next one? I have no hope in either Allen, Montembeau, or Primo to become that guy.
Oh no, I agree.
So eventually we will need to. Well, we have started drafting goalies, but we will need goalies in our.
You got to draft one every year until someone stands out.
It kind of works out that we have Jeff Gorton kind of in the organization here now. I mean, he is, and he handled the Lundqvist moving away from the Rangers, and look at the situation in New York right now. So I wonder if, maybe even, we talk about Sherratt being moved out. The decor is going to be completely, that's the part of this team that I think is obviously going to change the most. I've always kind of liked the forward core, despite some tinkering, and which they've already done now. Which there'll probably be some more, but there's good pieces. You think Dvorak, Suzuki, Caulfield, Anderson, all of them, great pieces. But the defense, it's going to change. And Lehkonen or Allen, you could even think of this. It's maybe unlikely, but package them together. They're both on killer contracts with not a lot, no term left. You could really cash in. So it'll be interesting what they do.
We're always talking about those contender shopping parts for the deadline, right? But Jake Allen is another different value, because even if you're chasing a playoff participation right now, Jake Allen is gold for a team that doesn't have goalie depth. You're not sure if your goalie gets injured or not while you're fighting for that last playoff spot. You need a guy like Jake Allen. Not necessarily contenders that are going to use their big goalie for the playoff, but
even teams with good goalies. Remember last year, Fleury and Leonard, two great goalies.
You don't want to end up playing Jake Allen in the playoffs, dude. That's for sure.
Sorry?
You don't want to end up playing Jake Allen's in the playoff. Like that. That's
you don't want to. I understand. Right. But if you're not 100% confident in your goalie the way the Knights were last year, maybe you want to have a better backup.
Imagine that. I think Jake Allen in the playoffs, dude. I'd be so fucking nervous. Like, I love the guy, but something's wrong there, man. Something's wrong, man. No, we're not. No.
But Jake Allen, man, he can give you one heck of a performance one night and be shitty the other night.
No, remember last year, dude? You need a fucking crazy goalie every night. I know.
Night. Yeah. And
I can see the saves.
Yeah, I really hope he move away from that too.
Still has nightmares.
Yeah, I really hope that decor rebuilding can make the difference moving on.
Yeah.
We don't need to rely on a Carey Price, Patrick Roy, or even José Théodore wasn't enough, and he was pretty fucking good. And it wasn't enough. He broke under the pressure like everyone else, man. It's
exactly. Carey's one of the only ones that hasn't broke under pressure, right?
Yeah.
That's why he deserves so much respect. It's
And then again, he never broke in like in his goalie role. But look at his personal life now that we know what happened, man. He was broken.
Yeah.
It broke him. It just didn't
Right.
show in his game, but he was broken. So yeah, it's a special kind of fucking position to be in, to be Montreal Canadian goalie, right?
Yeah. And you know what? We talk about obviously price eventually here next few years, but you're right. We got to move away from relying on this. And if we're talking about Jeff Petrie, we're not forced to trade him right now. Eventually they'll get a nice package for him, but who's playing on the right side? So we're going to have to a focus for this organization moving forward, whether it's Lehkonen trade at the deadline or in the offseason. We need a right-handed defenseman or, UFA.
We've had that talk on our pod. Like, we've had two clans, the ones who want to keep Petrie, the ones who want to trade Petrie. So we have me versus Pat, pretty much.
Come on, you got to trade it.
Like a guy like Petrie, for me, when we signed his deal was so good. Everybody was on track. Everybody thought it was a friendly deal. And I still think he's having an off year and can bounce back. I still think that no matter who will be there, a guy like Petrie can bring it back to the Habs. The thing is, he fell in a chair at a bad time in which he couldn't deliver off a playoff with a pandemic, family situation that seems complicated. He's waiting for a baby. The whole thing, the whole shebang. Pat, you're mute. So I don't know why you can't.
Pat's having none of it.
So take all of that off. That's where we're heading. I think we have something good that maybe
we're moving into the
value
future.
Next year would be better. If you want to trade him, give it another year. Don't trade him now.
No, maybe not now, but not a whole year, man. You got to fix that shit in the summer, man. And honestly, I can't conceive we're talking about moving forward with kids in the future. You want guys with proven fucking flawed characters on the bench, like Petrie just showed this year, man. So yeah, no thanks. None of that for me, man. Got to get rid of that guy.
Yeah, you know what, man? It's a hot topic, and I can see both sides of it. I honestly can, because I definitely was not impressed with how he, from literally day one, just kind of threw the towel in a little bit. It's not like he started strong and then went, whatever. And it's weird because Carey left the team last minute. Weber, obviously, his career's likely over because of injury. Petrie was one of those last veterans that was kind of left behind, and it was a short off season. And I'm sure, a lot of it has to do with the border thing and all the COVID shit. It's it's a shame that something like that has to tarnish a good thing. You know what? I see both sides. And the other thing too, luckily we're not forced to trade him right now. And I do think we should, despite what happened, I kind of want him to stay. And a lot of people are saying it's foregone that, he's for sure going. It seems like it might be
gone,
that way.
Man. He wants to be gone, guys.
But if he's gone, that's a huge hole. Like, that's seriously a huge hole.
Is.
Yeah.
It is.
Letang in the off season. I mean, is that
Letang's not happening? You heard what his agent said?
No.
He said, we're looking at a contract that starts with a 7. You ain't talking about 700K, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So that's 7 fucking millions, man. Forget it.
Yeah, and he's what, 35? Something like that.
Straight up. He's looking for contracts that starts with a 7.
How many years
does
he have left?
Forget it.
He's UFA this off season, and 7 long term or 7 short term.
It doesn't matter, man. Even 3 years at 7. 3 years at 7 millions is way too much, man. We're moving with a young core, and we're gonna get tied to an aging Christopher Letang that's injured. Fucking,
he does have serious
60 games a season.
Yeah,
man.
I just see the assist line, man, like 40 apples a season. That's exactly what we need. That playmaking from the back end.
Playing games, right?
Yeah.
Tonight we're playing against the guy I want.
Who's that?
Who do you want? Klingberg. We all want that Klingberg, right?
If I could get my hands on a guy like Klingberg, you've got your Petrie replacement right there.
But I'm being honest. I don't know if what's Klingberg going to cost? 8 millions? 7 point.
He's gonna
So fuck. That's going to be tough to fit right now, man.
Well, is it a sure thing he's leaving Dallas? Like with isn't Heiskanen?
Oh, he's unhappy with Dallas. I don't know if it's the city or the team, but he wants out. And he's what is it? RFA or UFA this summer?
He would be UFA.
If I'm not mistaken.
So
Yeah.
fuck, they want to lose him for nothing. And there's a few days left, man. He's spoken about wanting to be out of this. I don't know if
Yeah,
it's
but
club or
they're on
city,
the
but
verge of a playoff run, so I don't know if they're going to trade him. They're going to try to keep him, but they're going to do a
hey,
Sheldon
people
Keefe
better
out of
learn
him.
from Columbus, man. You sell those guys. You fucking sell those guys.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a unique spot to be in. I mean, we were there last year. We didn't, Phil Deneau, it's a shame he's gone, man. He's killing it in LA right now. I wish
He
he would
wanted
have.
to be gone. I'm not
He
gonna cry
did.
over a guy that didn't want to stay, man.
He's so
He
good
wanted
though.
out. He's out. It's over, man.
Yeah,
Fucking
he's so good.
Dano,
But we
man.
didn't get anything for him. But we got the cup run, so it's like.
Yeah, he
However,
was
we could
part
have
of it.
easily been bounced against the Leafs, and then we seriously
Yeah.
regret not trading him.
Oh yeah.
So it's an interesting spot to be in. The lucky thing I was thinking about this today. You can kind of swallow it because he was an own rental. We still have all our draft picks. We didn't have to, buy
That
rentals to
own
go on a
rental
cup
is
run.
hard to swallow when you don't have a title to fucking put on the rafters, man.
Yeah.
Oh no,
Yeah.
we got scored
But
on.
at the same time, we knew that
Fucking Klingberg scored on us, man. Yeah, no, that's your
His
fault,
third goal
mister.
of the season, 29 assists.
Oh,
He would be a
wait.
really good ad. 29 years
9.7
old.
seconds left in
He scored the
OT.
game
Klingberg
tying
scores
and the
on
game
us.
winner.
That's a perfect Petrie replacement.
I'm telling you guys,
Yeah,
I'm
I'd
in
love
love
it.
with this
I'd
guy.
love it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
get
put
back
on
to
a
Dano
show in
if
front of
he-
Ken Hughes.
Dano, on the other side, Dano, just to get back to him, we knew that on the short term, that wouldn't be the problem in terms of his production. We knew he would produce short term with the Kings.
Yeah.
Our problem was the long term contract that he wanted. He wanted
Yeah.
the 5, 6, 7. It wasn't the 5
I still
million,
don't
5.5.
believe
I
that
don't think that
shit
was the
was the
problem. I think it was
factor,
the
man.
term with Bergevin. And well, now they're reunited and they're going to be stuck with the term. We'll see in a few years where Dano is at that point.
Yeah. I always kind of just thought that, once he was not, or once he grew out of the Montreal or Montreal outgrew him, even if he was on a long-term deal, that he'd be tradable, just because, I don't know, man, he's good. I'm curious how, like, if he's really going to enter his prime here, isn't he? What, like 29, something like that, be a center that just is solid for the next, especially playing with Kopitar too. I mean, that's a good tandem. That's a real, but anyway, he's gone, whatever. It's the fucking past.
Yeah,
But
and
yeah, it's
he
a
didn't want
shame.
to stay. That's
Yeah.
the fact. Like it was almost 2 complete years before the trade that he started to show signs of not wanting to stay. So don't that fucking bullshit about the negotiations and the offers that didn't came. He wanted out.
Yeah.
It didn't move. Like it stalled on both sides. Bergevin knew he wasn't gonna budge because he wanted out. He was gonna test the market, whatever was gonna happen for sure.
Yeah.
And of course, he's gonna be seducted when he thinks his role isn't exploited enough in Montreal, and you have GMs trying to sound like you're the next best thing for their club, right? So of course he's gonna feel more love from the market than he did from Montreal at that point, the way I see it.
Yeah.
So all he wanted to is to hear a club say, listen, we believe in you. You'll have some power play shifts. You'll be our guy. Don't worry. Big minutes, big wingers, all that bullshit, right? That's all he wanted to hear, man. That $500,000. Come on, man. That's nothing to him.
Yeah.
It didn't matter.
So moving on though to like, who's your guys' core moving forward? Who do you want to build around here? And who are maybe some dark horses to be traded? Whether it's now or in the offseason.
It's hard not to name Suzuki and Caulfield right now, the way they've been
100%.
playing for the past few weeks, right?
Yeah.
These kids keep amazing me, man. It's crazy. Suzuki it's been what, 3 years now he's in the league, is it?
Yeah.
It's hard to even conceive his ceiling, even at this point. He keeps pushing it back and back and back, and you're like, oh, he's gonna be a solid second line setter, and then bam, no, fuck that, he's gonna be a first line setter, man. So yeah, he keeps pushing the ceiling to a point. It's hard to imagine where it's actually where the ceiling actually is.
Yeah.
And Caulfield, man, what to say? The confidence of a fucking veteran sniper that came back with St. Louis. I don't know what he's telling them. It's working, man. And yeah, I don't want to get into the Duchamp bullshit. Guy's gone. I'm wishing him the best luck moving on. Honestly, huge respect for his background, how he got to this league. It's easy to shit on him for the past for this season, pretty much. But the guy's road is perfect. The guy's path to the NHL is flawless. So if that one time, oh man, it's rough because it's. I hope he isn't over because of that stint.
He ruined Caulfield's chance at a Calder Trophy, and that's what he can be, labeled as. But prior to that, I mean, just dominance in junior and international junior. But anyway, it's, what, the one thing I'll say, and it has nothing to do with Dom Ducharme. I think Cole Caulfield is responsible for his slow start, and I think he's very responsible for turning it around as well.
When sent down.
And we can talk about Dom or Marty, but I think Cole Caulfield, deserves the criticism, but then being able to turn it around like this, more so without even mentioning Marty, despite, it's clearly having an impact. It's his hero. He wore his number. Clearly it's a perfect hire for a guy like Caulfield. But
you have some people that can't play when they have an eagle always over their head and waiting to snatch them up. Like I feel that sometimes they were, how could I say it? They were pointing his mistakes maybe too much, not letting him free. And this guy needs to be free. And we see him when he's free in the offensive zone, he's got wings. So we need to, and it's not just him, like the players in general. I feel a freedom when they come into the offensive zone. We've seen Hoffman get some chances. Suzuki even, I think he brought it to another level. It's just interesting to see where they're heading right now.
You're looking at a guy like Pitlick that came in from the waivers, and you watch him play.
What a steal, bro!
What the hell?
What a robbery, man! Like, how did the Wild let this guy go?
He's big, hard to imagine. He's unbelievable, and a center too.
Yeah,
like seriously, and like
crazy.
And they say they didn't have, I don't know, he didn't play their style, or he couldn't fit a role that they had, and that's why he had to go. But man, like even with Minnesota, 11 points in 20, and now he's got 17 and 25 for Montreal, and the goals he's scoring, he's just the OT winner, wasn't it? OT that he made the initial play, then he won the battle along the boards, and then he made the nice pass to Caulfield. Who then Caulfield ripped he sniped, it might have been the Philly one. I can't remember. Yeah. Pitlick, like unbelievable. Like Caulfield obviously got all the hype for the game winner, but Pitlick just it was all him setting it up. Just unbelievable.
And I add Pitlick to the guys that we want to build around. Like I really feel that his type of playing with Martin Saint-Louis, also an idol for him. Like I feel like this guy is really something, and it's going to be interesting to keep an eye on him. And I'd like to also say Alexander Romanov. Like I feel like they've invested, like Luke Richardson and Adam Nichols, Nicola, the new
skills coach.
I really feel like they're gonna invest more time, more energy on Romanov, and he's so receptive.
He's a coachable guy. Eh?
I feel like this guy, every time he's talking, he's learning. They're pointing, and I feel like there's communication all the time. Like this guy has been growing. He started off this year was rough, but he's been growing all season long. Like I would continue building around that guy, and he's gonna be key in the future.
Yeah, I think he could be a good measuring stick. He's a guy you want to see a kid come and force out of the lineup, or at least out of the top 6, top 9.
Exactly. You know what? He's making mistakes. He's learning. People are evaluating him like a veteran because he's already been here for a few years. But you know what? This guy's still learning, and I have hope with this guy.
Yeah, I agree. Just a quick shout out. Treg was in here the other day in the studio.
Dude, I didn't finish that episode. Big respect, man. 2 of my favorite guys with you too, man. One of my favorite content creators for
thank you very much, man.
Fucking awesome, man.
Yeah.
Group of MVP right there.
Yeah, it was fun to have them in, and it's easy to make this comparison, but he's right.
I gotta ask Matt, man.
Yeah.
Are the biceps that big?
Yeah, he's jacked.
His
dude.
bicep.
He's jacked now. He's definitely dude's killing it. He's Anyway, but no, it's easy to make the compare. Yeah, it's easy to make the comparison. Emelin and Markov. It's like a hybrid, and he's right, man.
Yeah.
And shout out to Blaine too. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Drinking some of the beer he gifted.
Yeah.
Nice. It was good. And to Andrew. Razor Romanov. Yeah.
That's
Alex
sadly,
Romanov is an absolute beast.
couldn't make it today.
Yeah. Well, he'll be on here soon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
we'll figure something
breastfeeding
out.
too. I heard, like Jeff.
Yeah, all of us.
The breastfeeding.
Yeah, but yeah,
we got the gear for it.
Yeah, sky's the limit definitely for Romanov too, and defensemen take a bit. He's still so young.
I was going to
and
talk
he's
about
got-
his learning curve. Seems like a different kind of slope, but
By the
he's
time
another guy. I
he's-
have a hard time to establish a ceiling of.
big time.
Feels like he could be pushing it every
Yeah.
year, man.
I love that take on Suzuki and Romanov. It's like by the time he's 25, Romanov and Suzuki as well, they're going to be so experienced, and they already have the
Crazy,
cup run, that
Yeah.
experience as well, the feeling of getting so close. That was
sharing a room with the Stahl, Perry, with this big experience, Weber, Price. These guys, they caught that experience so early in their career, right?
Yeah.
One of them is going to pan out to be that kind of leader. Probably Suzuki.
Yeah.
Suzuki's going to be a hell of a captain even in a few
These guys
years, if not.
They're gonna be mentors for Emil Heinemann, for Guli, for Mayu. These guys are all gonna be mentoring
Warlander.
younger kids, showing them the path, and they're gonna have the
Aris.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's coming. He's on his
We're
way.
gonna see him play soon, I think.
Oh man.
But yeah, go ahead.
Like they're gonna be mentoring these guys. I feel like this team is headed on the right way, and we have 5 first-round picks in the next 2 years. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So,
It looks a bit like what Gordon had in New York when he started that rebuild, right? Yeah, the big draft ahead, and within 2 years it was done. And we already, like I said earlier, we had a head start. We've been drafting good the past 2 years.
Oh yeah.
So we have a head start on that rebuild.
Yeah, big
Good
time. Another
picks
one,
and-
Sean Farrell. There's a lot of names, and a
Oh,
lot of
yeah,
guys with
super
high
cool.
skill too that could be coming in.
Fuck yeah! Plus the surprises, plus the surprise guys like Joshua Roy, right? Got drafted super late and just got a fucking kick in the ass and is just exploding this year. It's crazy to think about that.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see this roster in 2 years, man.
Oh, I know. And
I made a mistake, by the way. It's 5 for the next 3 years.
Yeah, that's what he said.
yeah, that's wild. And going back, it was a legendary cup run. Like, I don't think it can be understated. All the names you mentioned being around our young players, and then Bergevin's gone. And I don't think I've ever seen a
That
GM.
hurt.
It did hurt, because you know what?
Honestly,
He'll get
it
his
did. I
respect
loved
one
him.
day. 10 years from now, 15 years from now, even the haters are gonna go, we had some good runs under that
Yeah.
management. But he's gone, and I've never seen a GM take over with a team with this much, value in the franchise.
No, right.
With
Hey,
all
you
that's
remember
been
just
drafted, all
a
the
year and a
picks.
half or 2 years ago, everybody was saying Montreal's prospect farm is so deep. The prospect pool is so deep. They have one of the best prospect pool in the league. And now we're building on that like it's a fresh rebuild, dude. It's been on.
Yeah, and that's, I guess,
Fuck
why
yeah.
they don't necessarily want to do the fire sale, and they don't want to sell off all these pieces. Like, even, I know we're all over the
Oh,
place, but
man.
like Josh Anderson,
Mhm.
you acquire a
Can't
team
trade
that
him.
has a power forward, 25 to
You
30
can't touch
goal
that.
speedster at 6'3", 220, whatever he is. I think his contract's great. It takes a lot of flack
It's great.
online. It's a great contract.
You can't just look at numbers and make sense of a guy like Anderson's contract, dude. The package, what he brings to the game, it's not just numbers. You got to ask opponents what they think about Josh Anderson. He's the type of guy that's going to be respected for what opponents have to say about him. Much like Shea Weber when he got traded to Montreal. I don't know if you remember, we had all those West players saying, "Oh fuck, I'm happy he's gone." That says a lot, right?
100%.
Teammates can say all they want, but when your fucking opponents are like, "Oh yeah, I'm glad the guy's gone far from my division," that means a lot. And I feel like Anderson is that type of guy where opponents are gonna tell you it's fucking painful to play against him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you know what?
And
That's
honestly,
why-
for me, he's a top
that's why
five,
Ben Chard-
power forward in this league.
I agree.
Yeah. And that's why Ben Chard, he fetched what he fetched in the trade. It's because he's a big, tough to play against player.
Guy's getting
That-
unjustified hate. chair rat.
Oh, I
People
know.
act like he's a 70 man. He's a solid top 4 man. I don't give
Yeah.
a fuck. He's
Oh,
a genuine
100%.
top
That's what he was
4
with
defenseman.
Winnipeg. That's what he was with us. And he can show he can
Yeah.
jump in and play on your top pair and play 23, 25 minutes.
I think
Yep.
it was Aaron
What I-
Ward that
Say
was
what?
talking on the radio today, or earlier this week. He was saying that, he's an analytics guy, and he was saying at what point, if you only look at analytics, you will see something with Ben Chariot. But when you look at him play, you really admire what the guy actually brings on the ice, and he's more than what the analytics bring. And he's an analytics guy, so for me, analytics isn't everything; it's a part of the puzzle. But Chariot is exactly that type of player that don't just look at the analytics.
Anderson is the same.
Yeah.
You have the two perfect
100%.
examples right here. You can't
Yeah.
just look at fucking stats and judge a player. Not in this sport, not in this league.
No,
This
hockey,
ain't
I mean,
baseball, man.
you definitely you can see the value in it, but I mean, hockey, it's
Oh, it's
just
a great tool.
yeah, it is.
That's all it is. It's a tool.
Yeah, it is. And baseball, I can totally understand it for that. And the extreme value, the static, each play starts in the same place. And it's everyone's in the same position. You gotta, so I can understand that. But hockey, it's like split second decisions constantly. Yeah.
Random
Free flow,
events,
no out of
over and
bounds.
over.
You are over
Yeah.
and over and over again. And
It's always a random event after a random event. Just the bounce of a puck is so unpredictable compared to whatever I did. And the what's it called? The pitchers, they have great pitches, but the puck can move in ways and speed that you can't conceive in fucking baseball. And it's bam, 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 3 passes in half a second.
Yeah.
Didn't see shit. We're in the other zone already. It's crazy. You can't put analytics up the same way you use in football or baseball in hockey.
Yeah, I totally agree. And how you're playing at the end of your shift,
Yeah.
And I saw I saw Jay Fresh put up a compilation of Sherrod's plays or something in Game 7 or something like that.
Okay.
And you watch that, and I know he puts it up there sarcastically, but and there are the odd gaffes, but literally the whole video is Toronto struggling around the perimeter of the offensive zone. So even if it looks ugly, he's getting the job done. So the intimidation factor is real, all that. And it's with Anderson, the same thing. And I like how you mention the opposition and how they talk about them. I know Jake Muzzin, I'm sure did not have a good time with Josh Anderson in the playoffs. And just the way he plays, the leader too, and something underrated, beating out icings and getting that tip on the clear in the playoffs just to get the puck deep. His speed just gets him into positions where he can make an impact, even if he's not scoring goals. And he can fucking score goals too.
Oh yeah, he can. Hey, the way he cuts to the net, it's like he's 5'10", 160 pounds, man. Zoom. It's like crazy. Like he's so big. It's hard to conceive. Reminds me of Jamie Benn. Like not so good, obviously. Jamie Benn was the
good years of Jamie Benn.
So yeah,
the good years of Jamie Benn. But yeah, same type of player, man, where he'll do it all.
He's definitely
Richard Zednik before he got snatched by Kyle McLaren. He used to cut the net that same way, man. And ever since he got that hit,
who's gonna cut Anderson that
and
way?
He was such a he's the first name that comes to mind of a guy that used
who's
to
gonna take Anderson down that same way though? Nobody has the fucking tools to bring Anderson down that way. You're gonna die. Don't try that shit.
Yeah, so he's part of my core. I guess maybe injuries could be an issue. I don't know what he's dealing with now. Hopefully it's just these games don't.
My core too, Matt.
Yeah, so
for sure.
Yeah, I absolutely love the player, and maybe in the last couple of years of the deal, there's some decline, but I'm not looking to trade Josh Anderson. We have other guys that can be traded and bring value in. Josh Anderson's a guy you keep. There's 6 or 7 of these guys in the league. Like I think of Lawson Krause, Tom Wilson, Evander Kane.
Yeah, we're looking at Tom Wilson type of hockey player, really, without the brain farts and the abusive fucking violence, right?
I'm a big fan of Tom Wilson.
Yeah, I prefer Josh Anderson because he's clean, man. You rarely have that head shot or I prefer
doesn't
Josh
have
Anderson.
that history, and he's faster. Yeah, no.
Classy guy, man.
Yeah.
I know you love Wilson, Matt. I think I prefer Anderson.
I love
I'd
all the
still add
greasy
Wilson to
players,
that team
man.
anytime, man. I'd still add him to my team anytime,
I
even if
would.
I
So
have
would I.
Anderson.
Radko
Guys, in
Gudas, Braden
Montreal,
Shen.
the dirty hits, that's gonna be the main fucking story every time he hits someone to the head.
Excellent.
And then,
He's
oh,
giving
fuck
more
that shit.
freedom to Caulfield. He's giving more freedom to Suzuki.
Oh,
He's
come
giving
on.
more freedom to
Yeah.
Anderson, to even Gallagher.
This market can't handle
He's gonna
shit
help the
stirrers like
kid.
that,
Like
guys.
he'd be a game changer.
Matt Martin, Cal Clutterbuck. Just give me all the.
Yeah,
Just give me the guys that are gonna forecheck and bang, and they're willing to
Ivan
get in there.
Gallagher,
Or
if he had a
Flyer.
decent body.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. Well, guys,
Yeah.
have we missed anything here? Is there anyone else that you're expecting to
Who do
go
you
with the
get?
deadline?
Okay, we're gonna be making
Kulak,
trade.
Kulak, dude.
Yeah, that's an
some team
interesting
is
name.
gonna force. Is gonna force Kent Hughes to trading Kulak.
Yeah.
Low key reliable guy with a good flair. No, he's. Listen, I'm sure someone wants him.
Yeah, and I think
you can't keep hanging up for calls on Kulak. You got to take them at some point.
Yeah, and I'm really curious about like Weidman too, because he's looking good on that first power play unit, and
Yeah.
you want to have Caulfield having confidence. So do you really want to take away a guy that's kind of gelling with these guys right now? You need someone to play. You know,
Yeah.
is he gonna resign? I know he's a UFA, but I don't know. That's a weird one because I agree with you. Kulak could fetch a lot. He's kind of a perfect guy that, you know,
Would he
maybe
go?
not a lot,
A guy
but
that
like
can
a third.
steadily play on the third pair, but also can replace on the second pair if you have injuries during the playoffs. Yeah,
He
he's
was
reliable.
available
I
for
think he can
Seattle,
fetch.
and they didn't even snatch him, man. I'm not sure he's worth that much.
That's a good point.
Then again, look at all the
But I'm-
guys Seattle passed on. He's a
I
fucking
know, but
MVP
Yeah,
Kulak
Carey
would have been
Price.
perfect for a team like that.
No, you know what? You could be right, but I'm talking like third round pick or something. Like, do you think he could
Yeah,
fetch
third
a
or
third?
second, even bonafide in the right context with a big second pick there, right?
Yeah, add him to a package with Lekanen, and then you've got your A prospect easily. Like that. That's how.
Yeah.
I would trade him.
Yeah. Plus, we
That's-
got a dump contract, so that would be a good movement to dump 2 contracts and fetch 1.
Mhm.
That would be great.
Yeah, especially if you got Jordan Harris coming up, you need a spot for him to play. They're
do you keep
definitely
on the
going to want to
blue
see what
line,
he can do.
Matt?
Yeah. Who do I for moving forward long term?
Yeah. You keep Edmondson?
Yeah, 100%. What has he got? 2 years
Savard?
left? Yeah. He's got. We don't have any righties. If we're trading Petrie, he's got to play too. I'm not
Yeah,
a fan
and-
of him. I've never liked him in Columbus.
No, it's a catchy question for Savard.
Yeah, I never liked him in Columbus, you know, and then he goes to Tampa Bay and he's got that absolute, you know, incredible decor to play behind.
Yeah,
you know, he's playing
sure,
third
yeah.
pair minutes. We signed him to 3-point. I'm not sure he can really. I could be fucking totally wrong here, but can he play those minutes that Ben Sherratt's going to leave behind and Shea Weber are going to leave behind? Really, or is he
I
at
don't
best
think
a?
so.
Is he a 4 or is he a number 5 defenseman? Bottom.
I
I don't
think
know
he's
what
a
he
5.
is. Yeah, it's
But what are you
who's
going to
gonna
get
play?
on the trade market for him?
probably nothing.
Basically
So,
nothing.
Yeah.
So
and someone's
so
going
you
to
kind
play.
of stuck with him, right?
Yeah.
But
You're
I
not
don't
gonna buy
mind.
that contract out.
Whichever player you keep for the next 2 years, I don't mind. The thing is, we're not winning the cup in the next 2 years. We're building a team right now. We're not resetting. We're retooling. Whatever the word is. I'm not aiming
It's
for
a reformat.
for cup. Like if you want to be a cup contender, it's not the next 2 years that count. So keeping a guy like Savard just to be a sound defenseman who's going to play.
Seems
pick up
like a
minutes,
decent guy too,
help-
right?
How
Yeah.
the other youngsters grow. I'm keeping Savard. I don't have a problem with him.
Yeah. And
Like,
I was about to say, I'm glad you said he's a good guy too. I hate talking negatively about players. So it's worth mentioning that. Yeah. Leader, you know, I'm sure he could, you know, be a good guy to have around too. I think he's going to
Especially
be sticking around.
play with a kid, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it would make sense at least for one more year. See how it's
have no
going to be hard to
problem.
have 4 rookies on the blue line the first year, man. Like think about
No,
that.
you
No,
don't wanna
no
do
teams
that.
ever do that. You take 1 or 2 at the time. 3 or 4, it's going to be huge.
Yeah.
So yeah, I try to have 1 veteran on every pair if I could. So Savard and Edmondson is the guy. I don't want to cut bridges with that guy, man.
Yeah, me neither. I like him a lot. He was so consistent in the playoffs. He was
Yeah.
just every game, just winning the battle, getting the puck out of the defensive zone.
Yeah.
And I think guys really respect that. And I know, you know, something else we could talk about, Suzuki, clearly is going to be captain of this team at some point, whether it's, in 3
Yeah.
weeks or, a couple
Edmondson would be a
years.
good guy to bridge that,
100%. 100%.
if not Anderson.
Yeah.
It's two guys I could
Byron.
conceive.
And Byron.
Or
yeah.
Byron.
Byron
Yeah.
can help just bring Suzuki to that edge.
Yeah,
I
love
like
our
Byron
locker room,
because
man.
he's older, so that life is you know my opinion, Matt. I don't think you strip the C off a guy, you trade him, right? You don't take the C off a jersey, right? It doesn't work. So looking at that window age, Byron is probably 2 seasons left in him with us.
Yeah.
So
He's got 1
2
left on his
seasons would be
contract, I
about a
think so.
decent
Yeah.
a decent bridge for Suzuki, and then you don't close the door on keeping Edmondson or Anderson on the longer term, right? Whereas if you give it to Anderson, he's signed for what, 6 years now?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
in
that
2
you
years,
can't take it off his, you can't take it off
you
his
can't
sweater. Yeah.
take it off his, that you can't do that. So you got to trade him or whatever. So no, I think because of that, maybe Byron is the most logical bridge. Even Eddie, Eddie in 2
I
years,
love-
maybe you want to
yeah.
screw,
I love
you may
Joel.
wanna
He's my
hold on.
guy for sure. I'd love to see
Yep.
Edmondson get the captain.
But the way he plays, he's a how do you say that? He's a lifeline for a rookie coming in. Wants to take
Yeah.
risk, wants to push the offensive play. You have Eddie behind. That's perfect, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, he
100%
made
leads
everyone
by-
believe Petrie was all that shit, dude. Think about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fooled
That's
us
true,
good.
man. Yeah, that's true. But no, yeah, Eddie for sure. I mean, leads by example on the ice. And then unfortunately what he had to go through with his dad. And I think a lot of the guys probably witnessed how he
Yeah.
handled it and now being around the team and showing that he's a leader clearly. I really like the guy. I think that was a incredible ad by Bergevin, Stanley Cup champion, and it's always good to have those big physical D who what you're going to get each night. And
Wasn't he also a guy that analytics dumped on him as soon as we got him? Like, we have to evaluate the whole picture. And Edmondson, like I remember the cup run with St. Louis, they were looking at the stats with Carolina. It wasn't fitting at all, like the situation. And we see really, like I see more in him what he brought to St. Louis than what he brought to the Hurricane. We have to stop taking just snapshots of what's happening and look at the bigger picture.
Right.
And Eddie's also one that's in that category.
For sure.
Yeah, and not to dump on analytics because I absolutely
not at all.
Yeah,
I'm starting to use it. I want to learn about it.
Me as well. Yeah, and there's some guys who I love. What I like seeing is the combination of the analytics and then the theory behind it, and it explains so you can read and you can see video and you can see the analytics. But there's definitely, I think analytics, this is just a theory of mine that I wonder, but I feel like it can evaluate centers very well. And I'm not sure it can evaluate defensemen very well and wingers, and I also would assume that the offense is a lot more readable through the analytics than what you can read in defense, because a lot of the metrics are off shots and the reason why I say a center you might be able to evaluate them a lot better is they have to play a fairly consistent role in the middle of the ice, and they can have a strong impact on both of their wingers. And you definitely want to have a center that's preventing it. You need to evaluate the offense of that center, because you don't want you don't want to be being attacked on while they're on the ice. I don't know. Does that make any sense?
No, it does. It doesn't. It's something I never thought about, but it makes complete sense to me, man. Especially when comparing two centers one to another, right?
Yeah,
I feel like
defensemen have to defend at some point.
Yeah.
They have to.
Yeah.
But centermen, depending on how good they are, when they're short shifts or their minute shifts, you want them to be pushing offense. And I think you can clearly see the ones who are like, I think that's why Austin Matthews is literally hundreds across the board. I'll talk shit about him all day, but he's fucking incredible. And his last 2 years, he's really come around as a complete player. And you look at those analytics and you're like, yeah, that totally makes perfect sense. And he's a center. So
Hey, imagine
I'll bring it to another level.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
I'll bring it to another level. I feel like using analytics for a team as a whole can be way more interesting than using analytics for individual players.
Yes.
I really like it when you take a team, look at it at a whole. Okay, you have difficulty breaking out. You have difficulty breaking, blocking shots in from dangerous zones. You have difficult, like you can categorize areas where analytics is good. And I think that, when we talk about Hughes and Gordon, I think that building a team and coaching the team and developing your team, depending on where your weaknesses are in terms of analytics, is going to be interesting. And that's where you can build and grow and bring it to another level. Not necessarily just, oh, this player is good at that, or that player is good at this. Okay, but as a team as a whole, okay, we have difficulty getting out of the zone with the puck, or entering the zone with the puck, or taking shots from dangerous zones. How can we improve on these factors? And I really think that as a team as a whole, using those analytics to grow and bring it to another level, that's where the Habs could benefit from now using analytics than just having plays. Okay, this is how our power play is drawn, and this is how our entry zone is drawn. And it's not just how it's drawn, but how you modify your play and improve your game using those analytics. I think that we're going to benefit from that.
Yeah, that's a absolute. I love how you took it there, because I can definitely see the value in that, and to add on to it too. I'll knock the analytics for defensemen because there are so many outliers. And you'll see offensive defensemen look good and guys like Sherratt look bad. But something I in the same sort of sense, I like when you see the combined, the D pairs analytics, when you combine who they play with and how they look, especially when you get into penalty kill and power play as well, and digging into not just the percentage, but how they control the play and whatnot, and because those are crucial times on the ice. So it's gonna get more and more valuable as time goes, but everyone needs to be, and I think there's a lot of people who are conscious that the outliers are still very strong players, especially in the different forms of hockey. When you get into the playoffs and whatnot, you get buy-ins, and the veterans really show what they can do.
And is that why Armia still has value right now before the trade deadline? Is that why a guy like that, who had an amazing playoff run playing with Stahl and Perry last year, showing that he has value on the fourth line, this guy for a contending team could have value right now? Like, people are dumping on Armia. He played an amazing game today. From what I saw, he can take big minutes. He can play. He can take a game over all by himself, and we've seen it. He can score 1, 2, 3 games in it.
Yeah, there's games where he's a genuine top 6 players, but
we haven't.
He kicked off the Leafs comeback.
Yeah. But we didn't see it this year. Okay, but for contending team who has a deep lineup, man, Armia would be a guy that I would aim for, and he wouldn't be that expensive. But if on the Habs side, if you can move that contract, go ahead.
Exactly, the value for us
the next 2-3 years.
Yeah,
so might as well get rid of that contract.
Hey, that fourth line with Perry and Stahl, right? It was
incredible,
crazy.
It was incredible. Wow. Yeah, and I was knocking on Stahl during the regular season
because
he didn't look good, man.
We
all did.
He did not look good, but then they turned it around. They just accepted their role, and Armia was the key to it. He led the team in takeaways, and Perry got a lot of the credit, but he also, I guess, was scoring those clutch goals. Armia had kicked off the comeback against the Leafs, but the takeaways, he wins battles along the boards, and he's a right shot, and they're rare. They hold value. Right shooters who can score. I know he's struggled, but
but he's still a big body. He could still hold the puck deep in the zone. He could still feed his players. He could retrieve the puck whenever needed. He could play dirty hockey. Like, Armia is really a play of a guy. Like, I would invest in him if needed, but we're not in that zone right now, so it's okay to let him go.
I wouldn't mind keeping Armia if it wasn't, like I said, there's too many players with that skill set right now. Mm-hmm. So it's fun. It's fun to have guys for the PK, but we have it. It's good. We can move on now.
How about Hoffman? That's a weird one for me. That, like, Bergevin signed him, and that was like, it was kind of nice to see him sign like a power play specialist, the guy with an incredible release, offense only, essentially. He has some games where he looks good defensively, which is odd, and then others not. But, his contract's
him.
not bad. You keep him.
You're
Yeah,
not gonna
you
get
keep
the
him.
great offer for him anyway,
Yeah.
man. So you know what? I keep him for the next couple of years. The kid has to step in and push him off the lineup for me. So you need those guys, man. You need those guys to tell your kids, you see that guy? That's your spot right there, man. Show me you're better than him, and it's yours. You got to keep those motivators in the lineup. So moving on, you need those guys, man.
And I feel like St. Louis is the perfect coach for a guy like Hoffman. I feel like it fits. There's I can't tell you
it's
what.
A feeling.
It's a feeling that it fits, and he's the type of player that I would keep under St. Louis. Just I feel like he could go flying just because he's with that coach.
There was I can't remember what game it was, and I think it was Caulfield who scored the goal, but Hoffman in the defensive zone, it was fucking nasty. Literally, if you guys may remember this, he was facing our goalie when he made the play. He just picked up the puck quick, like literally shot it off the boards, but it was a shot pass off the boards, and it went literally straight up the center of the ice. And I think Caulfield picked it up and went up and scored. Like, just
was it a power play goal?
It might have been, yeah. I can't remember which game it was.
Up in the neutral zone? I don't remember.
And he was literally like, he was close to the boards, and he was facing our goalie, and then just pass off the boards, and then this way.
Yeah, I think it was the slapper on an OT that you're talking about. It was
yeah, just gross. Yeah, he's got some serious skill offensively, and some, he's going to get the job done on the power play, especially if the thing holding this team back is the decor. Once we got some puck movers, some serious playmakers, at least one on the decor. I mean, these forwards are going to go off, and I'm curious where Drouin's at. He's got 1 year left, and
I think we played him that year, man.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, we've toughed him this long with ups and downs, and is it going to be the breakout season or not? Or we've lasted up to this point.
How many chances does this guy?
I know,
have?
yeah.
Like,
well, you know what?
So many times.
I get it, but you know what? We're there now, so give him. I don't know. I
want to give him a chance with St. Louis.
Me too.
That's my point. That's my point. I skilled guys that didn't manage to make it. Let's go back a few years. Galchenyuk is a guy I'd like to see under St. Louis, right? Right when he was at that choking point.
Max Domi. Bring that motherfucker back, please.
Even
love that
Sherback, Udon, Sherback, guys who managed to fucking strive in the juniors, like hey, Charles Udon is a perfect example. The guy was scoring goals. Wasn't he the second best player in the AHL 1 year?
Yeah.
Then he just choked.
He was a goal scorer. He was
so I'd love to see a guy like Stu. I'm not saying go get Udon this year.
Right. Yeah.
Back in time, seeing those guys with a coach like Martin St. Louis feels like we could have had a few more gems actually break out.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree.
So yeah, for Drouin, that's my whole reasoning. There's 1 year left. Gamble it.
And you know what?
Scenario,
he's at 5.5.
Deadline next year, man.
He's been fairly consistent at 50 to 55 points. It's just people have been disappointed in that, but that's fair value. It's usually $1 million per every 10 points. He's right on par for that. Let's see him under St. Louis. Another guy too is Dvorak. 3 years left. I don't know. I don't think we've seen the best of him yet. And another guy, we get a puck mover. He's a good goal scorer.
With that first round pick and second round pick
and all that whole shit
it's always going to
situation.
be tied to that. So I feel like if you have the value, trade him. But I agree, he's probably better than what we got from him.
His contract's nice, man. 4.8 or something like that for 3 more years.
He doesn't hurt the team. Like, he's not playing good hockey, but he's not hurting the team as well.
Yeah.
I know so many people are saying they want to see him under Martin St. Louis. I'm not against it.
All the guys that didn't play it with St. Louis, Drouin and Dvorak are the two first that come to mind. I want to see them before we trade them. Like, I want to see what they can bring. I want
especially Drouin for me, man.
Yeah,
I'm not in a hurry.
Yeah, and I mean, Dvorak can be the second line center if we don't pick someone up to jump into the top 6. But if he's down on the third line center, I mean, 4.5, 4.8 for a third line center isn't terrible. He can win the draw.
For a good one, it's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, and he would be a good third line center. So.
Yeah, it would have been perfect with KK. Honestly, imagine that. buy KK a few years to become that 2C, and then you have Dvorak slowly going down the 3C. Would have been perfect with both these guys in the lineup. honestly.
When's Kotkaniemi supposed to sign that deal? Isn't that supposed to happen?
Yeah,
Wasn't that
it's not done.
wasn't that
All
supposed to
that
happen
noise.
already?
Oh yeah, all that noise. And right before those rumors, there was the other rumor that Brindamour and Kotkaniemi didn't get along. So
Mhm.
then there's the new rumor that says no, they're signing a long-term deal, but it never happened. So that's weird. That's fucking
Yeah.
Hey
weird.
guys, how many points does Kotkaniemi have in his last 21 games?
Like 2 or something. 4. That's
Oh, is that
fucking
why I don't
amazing.
see so many fucking Canes fans right now being all aggressive on Twitter?
Yeah,
That's why.
he went on a heater for a bit there, but it was when half the league was out with COVID and he jumped up. But you know what? I don't want to rag on the guy. I actually still kind of think he's gonna turn out to be a good player. I still think he's gonna give it 2-3 years. He grows into his frame. He'll be able to
I
execute a
believe
bit
it
better.
too.
He's an
he's-
NHLer.
Yeah, he definitely is. He goes to the dirty areas. He's clearly good defensively, and I know he shines with the analytics. Again, though, it's a center, and I think that's a good read. You know, I think it's a good read on KK. It's just, and I'm not sure he's ready to take over at second line center for them yet, but yeah, I thought he'd for sure go UFA, and that's a very interesting UFA. If he does do that, I feel like that's a good. If he wants money and a good spot to play, I don't know. That's but he may stay there. Who knows? Maybe he does sign that rumored contract.
I don't know, man. I'd be surprised to see. Well, it wasn't so bad. It was what 4 point something the rumored contract.
Yeah, I think 8 years
Around
too, which is that's kind of odd, eh? How do you leak an
It would
8-year?
become a great fucking contract down the road.
It would. It would.
Even if he's 6, 7, and 8,
Down the road,
gonna
yes.
be fucking
Yeah.
deals.
Even if he, yeah, like we were just talking about Dvorak, even if he capped out as a third line C.
Yeah, but the
kinda-
question is, why
He
would
worked
KK
out.
sign that?
Exactly. That exactly doesn't make sense.
For me, on the KK side,
Ah,
there's
he's
no
so
point in
happy with
signing
his
that
new
contract.
team and he loves it there and he just wants to stay there and then that's it. That's why he
Yeah,
signs
for
that
now,
deal.
but in 3 years, everything could flop. You know,
Hey,
he
for a
just
guy
had a
that
run here
for a
and
guy
look
that
at the
turned
team.
down the offers we were making last summer to become to take that offer sheet, I feel like he's more about the dollar and wouldn't sign a 4 million deal for 8 years. Doesn't
Yeah,
sound good. Yeah, don't buy it.
especially when he can just go to unrestricted free agency. You know, my qualifying offer is 6.1
and he'll get
or
it
whatever.
because exactly.
Yeah.
He's not even gonna get qualified at that price.
No, so then he can just go UFA and
Yeah.
pick a team. Seriously, he'll get offers. He'll get
So
a lot
if
of
that
interesting
happens,
wants to
offers.
stay there, like you guys
If
are saying,
KK
maybe he
if
wants to
KK
stay
walks
there.
away, if KK walks away, did Montreal win that old saga?
If he walks away, they did because those picks were valuable, man. Dvorak will hold
One-
value whether
yeah.
or not he stays or not. So
And for that 1 year of massive overpayment, over which they probably lost Dougie Hamilton last summer, right?
right, and they're going into the playoffs and could have used that space for
Fuck, eh?
yeah. But you never know. Does
Oh,
he
man.
impact the game in the playoffs at third line C like he did for us? You never know. So
Oh, that's a good point, man. Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
he's clutch like that. Like it wouldn't surprise me. He was kind of clutch here.
yeah, he scored
Big
goals in the
moments,
playoffs.
Yeah. We'll
Let's
see,
let's-
man.
Yeah.
Would you guys be happy if he came back this summer as a free agent?
I would, but I don't think it's gonna happen. I'm
No, I
Mac-
don't believe it a
Yeah.
second. But would you be happy with him? Or would you just flip the page and welcome him, arms wide open?
it's hard to say, man.
What do you think the fans would say?
It depends
I'd
on
be
what
fine.
he signs for, I think.
Bro, it's gonna be a mess if he comes back. I don't know.
Under 5.
Under 5, yeah, I could probably live
Yeah,
with
for
that.
3-4 years.
But then-
I
But
guess.
you
Yeah.
don't come back to that type of pressure just for the fun of it.
No,
Like I don't think.
But was it the
would be that.
pressure? Was it really the pressure though? I think he liked that pressure, man. He didn't like the coaches, didn't like his
No,
line
yeah, didn't
mates,
like the
the wingers
coaches,
that he
yeah.
got and stuff. He said it right after the playoffs. He said, "Well, unlike Suzuki, I didn't get steady." Or was it Dano? He said, "I don't have Gallagher and Tatar that I stayed with all along." So it's hard. And he said it with a smart ass smile, but it
Yeah.
was a real.
Yeah,
thing,
he was
man.
always sour. I don't. I would have.
What? Kiki was sour, dude. Dano was sour as fuck. Way more
Sour's all.
sour.
Yeah,
than-
both of
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, it was a
Fucking
weird,
sour
fucking
pizza.
weird off season, man. But I would take back Max Domi in a heartbeat. However, he's probably looking to cash in. I don't know, man. Playmaker.
Can he
We need
cash in?
playmaker. I don't know. He's got what? I think he's got like 22. I'd have to look it up. But I
Matt,
think
you know it. Max Domi's gonna end up in Toronto because that's
he very well
just the
could.
fucking that's the
Depends on what he
realistic
wants to
outcome
sign
here.
for. He's got 32 points in 52 games.
Both
9
Domi and
goals.
Subban are gonna end up in Toronto on friendly deals just to piss off us.
I would not be
Piss
surprised to
off.
see Subban go to Toronto.
Both on
At
a
all.
1 million deal, man.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I don't know though. Max Domi under St. Louis, I think be nasty. He had chemistry with Drouin. He seemed to love Montreal. You know,
Who's that center?
He's a
that plays
playmaker.
between Drouin and Domi, man.
I'd see more.
Dvorak.
He's
That could be a
he's
fucking
buddies
line with
Anderson.
Dvorak, to be honest.
Yeah.
Dvorak, Drouin, Domi. That would be a hell of a line, man.
Yeah, Dvorak goal scorer, Drouin hybrid, and Domi playmaker. But he's got
And
9 goals
Domi
too.
pain in the ass.
Yeah, and I like that. I love that.
Oh yeah, I love that. Yeah.
I
Doesn't
you know
cross
what?
the
I
line.
love.
He's not a too dirty player. He's just that perfect grit, right in the middle. Not dirty like Tom Wilson, but still fucking dirty a bit,
Yeah.
right?
And
Yeah,
I love
yeah,
Josh Anderson. I love him,
Exactly.
and they're buddies, right?
Buddies, exactly.
Yeah.
So
Oh, that would be nice.
yeah, I don't know. I think that'd be interesting. Does he have
I
any
was a big
connections to
Domi
New York?
fan. I wouldn't say no to that.
You wouldn't?
No, I wouldn't say no. Like I was a big Domi fan. Like I would greet him with open arms.
Well, which Domi though? Because
The
there's like
70-point Domi. That's for sure.
Yeah,
no,
but
but
he's-
72
that's not
point
gonna
not
Domi.
70 points, man.
it's not gonna happen again.
When he's
ever,
on his
man.
game, he's something else.
Yeah. And does he have any connections to New York? I know his dad played there and whatnot. I don't know if that would matter, but I think the big thing though is just, buddies with Anderson, and we need playmakers bad. And so I guess it depends on what he'd want. If Lehkonen gets traded, we need a left winger, right?
Oh
So
my god.
But
I was
you
just
know
such
who
a big
wouldn't be
fan,
happy?
man.
Montreal media wouldn't be happy to have Domi back.
Yeah, we had Luc Gélina on our podcast 2 weeks ago, right?
Yeah,
And he told us Domi was a real pain in the ass, man, to work
Yeah.
with.
really.
He
One
was
of the
rude to
biggest
media. Yeah, one of the biggest fucking
Holy
assholes he ever had to deal with. He said.
Well, he's like
He said he
ghost blocked
was
at a bunch of
even
people on
rude. He
Twitter.
was even rude to Chantal Maccabe. He said. So come on, who's rude to Chantal Maccabe?
But
he
then he
said,
has that
Sha-
persona that he's this like professional. I love Montreal.
Oh, that's what
that's
Luc
interesting, man.
Gélina said. He said when it was time to talk about his diabetes and his books, oh, he was the nicest fucker around, right? But then again, after a game or whatever, he'd be a fucking
Yeah.
jerk. He said Chantal
Ooh.
Maccabe asked him a question, and he
Yeah.
basically threw her off. And she had just asked that question to it was Weber and who? Who was the other guy she asked the same question to? And both guys gave her a classy answer.
Gallagher,
And Gallagher was it?
if I'm not
And then
mistaken.
then
yeah.
she
Wow.
gets to Domi, asks the same question, and he basically flips her off.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was surprised to hear that. And
That's
Luc Gélina was
interesting,
super
man.
cool. He was super honest. I
Can we
told him
just plug
straight
our
up,
show but while we're here? Because if you're speaking French and you want to go
That
listen
show
to the
was
episode
great,
with
man.
Luc Gélina, it was honestly, we entered a candy store and this guy kept giving us candy
Oh,
over
yeah.
and
It
over
was
and
super
over. It was
generous, man.
beautiful, man.
nice stories and
From
stuff,
stories
man.
from the time he hit Shara to the guy he went.
He hit
with-
Shara under the
Yeah.
chin with a stick. I'm not saying more. Go see that.
Yeah.
Go see it.
or the time he went with Wayne Gretzky, or the Domi
Wayne
story.
Gretzky's dad.
This guy, honestly, yeah, with Wayne Gretzky's that. Honestly, he gave us stories back to back, and it was such a nice episode. If you have a chance, go check it out. If you speak French, this was honestly a beautiful piece of podcasting.
I tell
there.
him
And,
who was the other
huge
guy he
amount.
said he hated interviewing.
John Leclerc.
John Leclerc, that's it. That's it. So I tell him, here's my curveball, Dick. I'm expecting you're probably going to try to dodge it and not answer, but who's the worst player who had to? And bam, he gave us right straight off the bat. John Leclerc, Max Domi, both fucking assholes. Oh, what? Straight up, man. He was awesome. He was super
That is
generous, man.
amazing.
Yeah, super
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, you guys are killing it. You got a lot of respect. I wish I could listen to it, but I don't speak French. But from what I
Hey,
can
by the
tell,
way, I gotta tell people because we're in a DM together, we're in a group chat together. You're making crazy progress, and you'll be fucking hosting a French podcast soon enough. Watch it.
thanks, man. Yeah, I'm really committed, and I think I'm super excited once my daughter gets into like grade 3, 4, and she's really speaking it, and she can help me, and I can have someone to talk to. And I'm really
Yeah.
excited that she'll know the language, and hopefully all my kids will. And then it just
Nice.
yeah. So yeah, you guys killing it, and thanks a ton for coming on. I really
No,
appreciate
thanks
it.
for having us, Matt.
Yeah, it's
Thanks
always
for
a
having us,
blast.
man.
We have great convo, and definitely everybody check out their podcast, Oh Ballotage.
Nice.
Thank you so much.
Plug, man.